half, 5-point game. KU stretched it out. They win by 20. We will have live reaction as soon as they go to the podium. But Jackson 23, Graham 18, Mason 20. Bridges 22 in the loss. What's your takeaway from that result, John?
Well, I think right now we have Kansas again showing how much it depends on Landon Lucas. This is really the only post player that Kansas has in its rotation, another double-double. Look, Tom Izzo squeezed everything he could out of this Michigan State team given the injuries, but now Kansas moves into a situation like Syracuse moved into in 2003 when they won a national championship. That year, Syracuse played its Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games in Albany, and it was a pseudo home game. You look at Kansas right now going to the Sprint Center in Kansas City. It played 3 games there before the Big 12 tournament. 1 against Davidson, 2 in the CBE Classic. It lost to TCU in the Big 12 tournament, but Josh Jackson didn't play. So the 5th game of the season that Kansas plays in that building will be against Purdue in the Sweet 16. That's a big advantage for the Jayhawks.
It's a huge advantage. And then for this Jayhawks team, I just keep watching Josh Jackson because after the loss in the Big 12 when he didn't play, I wrote Kansas off because I said, look, they're dealing with internal problems. They'll make it win 1 game, they'll win 2 games, but then they'll be out. But now this team looks like the overall #1 seed, like they should have been, in my opinion. So as far as what they continue to do, it's unbelievable.
The other narrative was they don't have a big man, so they're in trouble. But, I mean, these guards are so darn good. It's
Who needs a big man?
Yeah, just give me Frank Mason.
There you go.
Just give me a little guy that can get up and down the floor, get in the lane, and create offense. And you know, everyone says it's a guard's game nowadays, but to be perfectly honest with you, when you have a veteran guard, a guy that's won multiple Big Ten championships, who's been in this situation before, you just give him the ball and just let him do the work, and that's what he did today.
With Swanigan and his ability, obviously 28 double-doubles, leads Division I. It's a Big Ten record. He got his 28th last time out in the win last night against Iowa State. As you look at Purdue, Kansas, you touched on it for a moment there, but what should fans start to be looking for this week in the next couple of days as they prep for that game?
A team with an elite perimeter in Kansas against a team with an elite big man in Caleb Swanigan. And this is where we always go back to Landon Lucas, because for all intents and purposes, you look right now at Kansas's situation. Kansas only has 1 legitimate big man in its rotation in, obviously, Landon Lucas. If he does not stay on the floor, who is Bill Self going to turn to? Look at the minutes right now played by Kansas. Dwight Coleby logged 9 off the bench. Carlton Bragg logged 5. There is not a lot of confidence in the rest of that bench after LaGerald Vick.
Is that sort of how you shape it up as well?
Yeah, you know what, though? At this time of year, you're only playing 7 guys. I mean, the trust tree really shrinks down. The branches kind of got cut. So the way I look at it, I think it's going to be interesting. I want to see if Purdue is going to go out and run, because everybody says they don't. They grind it out. They can get out and run when they want to. I think this is going to be a really fascinating game.
I think advantage Purdue in this game. I think Swanigan, as I continue to watch him play, he's such a force down low. And Haas, for the 18 minutes he'll get in the game, he can do some damage. And this Kansas team with Landon Lucas, I don't care if they did have another big, they still wouldn't have anyone to guard Caleb Swanigan. So if they solve that problem, they'll have a chance to beat Purdue.
Well, you know, we've spent so much time talking about Caleb Swanigan. The guy in this game that could be a real X factor is Isaac Haas. Isaac Haas is somebody that nobody talks about, but, you know, he gets the ball in the low block, and it's almost like target practice.
Yeah, he's trying to score every single time. The ball goes down to him, he's trying to score it every single time.
So Kansas wraps up a win today. Kentucky and Michigan as well. Those are the 3 finals. Got Oregon in action. Got Carolina and Arkansas in action in the second half. Almost to the midpoint. Arkansas just went on an 8-0 run and took the lead, but Carolina coming back here. 50-48 Arkansas. Kansas live next. A lot of stories going on. We'll hear from Bill Self and his guys when we return.
One of the epic performances in the annals of the sport.
A tradition unlike any other, the Masters on CBS.
One should argue that Arkansas should have been bounced in the first round. Here they are, down 30-13 with 5.5 to play in the first half, John. And they have stormed all the way back to take the lead on Carolina.
College basketball, where the unexpected becomes the ordinary.
Yeah,
He's a treat, Kevin. He's a treat.
Go ahead and do the Oregon.
25-20. Oregon leads Rhode Island. He leaves us all speechless a lot, really.
In a good way, I hope.
No, it's great. It's great. It's 40% both teams here. And again, Oregon by 5. All right, Bill Self and his guys sitting down. Let's go live out there to Tulsa right now.
Jayhawks are with us. Head coach Bill Self, Frank Mason III, Devontae Graham, and Josh Jackson. We're going to have Coach Bill Self open up with a statement, then we'll have questions for any of the 4 individuals here from Kansas. Bill, please.
Well, obviously, you know, the final margin didn't dictate what a hard game it was. I thought both teams tried real hard. I thought we tried too hard at times. Shot selection wasn't great, but when they cut it to 1, that's when we played our best ball, and that was fun to see, and certainly it's good to see our guys getting a nice rhythm.
First questions in the back. Go.
Cody Tucker, Lansing State Journal. Josh, a lot's been made about you growing up with Cassius and growing up around Miles. Can you kind of talk about tonight's game and what that meant to you being a Michigan kid to beat Michigan State like that tonight in the NCAA tournament?
Well, I feel like we're all competitors. You know, I've been knowing those guys for a long time, and one thing that I do know about both of them is they both really like to win. So I knew it was going to be a fun game before, you know, it even started. So it was just really fun to go out there and to be able to play against those guys, and really proud to see them here and having success.
Blair.
Blair Kirkhoff with the Kansas City Star. Frank, what did Dwight Colby give you guys today?
He gave us the spark we needed. You know, Landon got in foul trouble, and you know, he came in prepared and ready to play. And you know, we're going to need that moving forward because you never know when we're going to get in foul trouble or injury or anything like that. So you know, you just got to stay ready when your number is called, and that's what he did.
Down here on the left-hand side, gentlemen.
John Tranchina, Associated Press. Josh, can you just elaborate a little bit more on your emotions facing you know, such a good friend in Bridges and just what that was like going against him?
One thing the coaching staff told me before the game was just to make sure I didn't come out too excited, and I tried to keep that in my head, and I came out and was still just a little too excited. Tried to force stuff a little bit, but as the game went on, felt like the game started slowing down. It came to me a little bit more, and I just had to realize that it was just another game, and it was about Kansas basketball versus Michigan State, and it wasn't about, you know, me versus Miles.
Back here, Blair.
And Josh, did that game start slowing down for you in the second half when they cut it to 1? And I think that's when you got the 3-point play, and then a couple seconds later, step back 3 from the corner. What do you remember about those moments?
I just felt like after seeing a few shots go in, I felt like I could make a couple more. I felt like I made some tough shots today, but hopefully I could keep doing that through the rest of this tournament. Hopefully I don't have to, though. But, you know, it was just a really fun game, and I was just happy to be out there.
Next question's on the left-hand side, gentlemen.
Garen Emig of the Tulsa World. Josh, it looked like several players, as well as Coach Izzo, spoke with you during the handshake line afterward. What was the message?
A couple guys told me just to go ahead and win the tournament, just wishing us good luck and telling me that they were proud of me. I know a couple more guys on the coaching staff, a couple more guys on the team who don't really play. And like I said, I was just really happy to see everybody there, and it was just really fun.
Right in front.
Tom Keegan, Lawrence Journal World. Devontae, the way you guys finished that game, is that about as well and as fast as you guys have played all year?
I think once they got to that 1 point, once we were up 1, and we really focused in and started getting stops and making easy baskets, couple and ones, and then like Frank said, the White was the spark, really the MVP of the second half for us. And I felt like we really did play our best ball.
Janine Edwards, ESPN. Coach, I'm just curious from a coaching perspective, because this game was so electric to watch. And like you said, the score is kind of misleading of how hard everybody played. What was it like being out there on the floor and actually coaching through this game?
It was I don't know how Tom felt, but it was a hard game to coach, in large part because nobody listened to me. And they were shooting too fast, and the pace was too fast, and everything. But we're better when we have pace, and certainly, you know, these guys have all been there before. But I think they'd be the first to tell you it was a fun game. It was a fast-paced game. The pace was faster than the final score indicated, even in number of points. and they go downhill when they get possession as well as anybody. But we did a good enough job in transition defense, and then we did a great job defensive rebounding. And to me, and having guys make hard shots. I mean, we extended our lead by step back threes and ones. I mean, they were hard plays, and certainly that's a tribute to the skill set over here.
Next two questions are on the left-hand side, right here.
Bill, I take it that the kind of assertiveness that Josh gave you is what a coach wants in this tournament from a player with his ability to be a difference maker.
Yeah, I think so. But we have, we've got 3 or 4 guys that can all do that, and Josh deserves a ton of credit. He was great. Frank had 20 and 5 and no turnovers, and Devontae seemed like he made most things he looked at, and Landon had a double-double, and I thought LeGerald and Svi were both good. I mean, so it was a good team effort. But you're right. I do think in the tournament it's so nice to have a player or 2 or 3 that when things don't look good, they can go score 6 points in 3 possessions when you really run bad offense, and that kind of happened with us tonight. We made some hard shots.
Right here on the left. Then go back to Blair.
Frank, is there a toughness about this team? I don't want to say that wasn't here before, but what's this level of toughness on this team?
I think we all play with a lot of pride. We all believe in each other, and I think it starts with Coach. He really gets on to us in practice, and he make us compete, and it's just carry on to the games, and just proud of the way my teammates played and the great job that my coaches did.
Yeah, Bill, you were talking about these 3 guys. There are a lot of big threes in college basketball that have been talked about. These 3 guys, how do you feel that they together played this weekend, and how do you feel about the way that they're playing going into the Sweet 16?
Well, you're right. There's been some great performances so far in the tournament, individual performances, and certainly, I think our team is pretty balanced. So we don't have very often I think Josh has got 30 once and Frank a couple of times, but we don't have very often where guys go out and have to carry us, so to speak. But we've had numerous stretches where guys have carried us for a 4 or 5 minute period, and I think all 3 of these guys played great. I mean, they shot it fairly well, but they competed and they defended and they cared about the right things, and certainly played unselfish and still got numbers. So I think they're playing. I haven't seen everybody play, but they're obviously playing very well.
We have 5 minutes to go. We have 4 questions up. Go, please.
Bill, part of the identity of this team is playing closer than expected, having to rally back against some of these teams. You lose to TCU. How do you think that would translate going into the tournament?
A loss, or
identity this year, the way you play.
Well, I do think that the one thing, our league is really good, and when you play good teams in your league, you're naturally going to play close games, especially away from home. And you play at Kentucky, it's going to be close. You play Duke, it's going to be close. You play Indiana, it's going to be close. So we played in a lot of close games, maybe more so than what a lot of people think we should have. But I also think those moments have helped define who we are from an execution and toughness standpoint when the game's on the line on both ends.
In the back.
Harold Bouchard. Devontae and Frank, just your thoughts of going back to Kansas City, getting another shot at the Sprint Center.
Devontae first, please.
Well, I'm excited. Why wouldn't we be excited to play in our hometown, in our own state, in front of the best fans in the world? So I'm excited to get back and redeem myself in the Sprint Center, I guess you could say.
It doesn't really matter, where we play, but it's Kansas basketball, and we get a chance to play 35 miles away from Lawrence, and I think it's just great for the fans and for us, to get a chance to play there for the Sweet 16. So we're all excited.
As a coach, who's your favorite guy to watch on that team? Is it Mason? Is it Josh Jackson?
It's definitely Mason. I love watching elite guards, and I love the way he distributes the ball and gets it everywhere. So for me, when you watch elite guards, I think it's just a great team.
I love watching the young kids. So Josh Jackson, I like to see how they start off the season making crazy mistakes, and then later on, Big 12 tournament, not in the big dance, they're making improvements and they're doing stuff more calculated rather just off of instinct.
Well, for me, it's Landon Lucas, because if you think back to the start of the season, Udoka Azubuike had superseded him as Kansas' starting center. So this is the guy that Kansas has to have consistent every single game. He's the mortar between the bricks.
You see that assist by the head coach there? My coffee. It was my coffee on the desk, and he's saving me getting it off.
A lot of people are saving you.
He's cleaning up after me. That's a turnover on me.
Flagrant one.
One of those, yeah. It always goes back to that. Michigan State will hear from the Spartans after they fall in the round of 32 to Kansas. Stay with us.